Alright, sorry about that disruption. I accidentally hit the stop button on my trackpad here, so my apologies. So this is part 3, where we're going to pick up at our median pass filter that we just did. And then we want to fade that filter, right? So we're still on our hillshade. We'll go up here to edit. I think I might have messed it up just a little bit because I hit that button. So I just hit Control Z to go back a pinch. Now I'm going to merge down again, Command E. I've merged my hillshades together, and now I'm going to do that filter again. Filter, noise, median, 2, hit OK. Then I'm going to go to Edit, Fade Median, and this is just going to be, this is basically just creating a level of transparency of that median pass filter. So I've created the filter, and that's reduced the noise, but then I'm going to put that filter at about 60% opacity. So that's going to keep some of the ruggedness of the terrain, but kind of de-speckle it or de-noise some of the more jagged parts. Okay. So now I have my softer terrain that has that that mask with the DEM that allows it to pull out some of the shadows. So now what we want to do is lighten our terrain as a whole. From this, we're going to go to Layer, New Adjustment Layer, Curves. We're going to put this on top of the terrain. So that, you can do that up here. You can go Layer, New Adjustment Layer, Curves. You can also do it down here. Layer, New Adjustment Layer, Curves. I typically go this way, New Adjustment Layer, Curves. Curves 1. You can see that's going to put this curves menu on top of the hillshade. Okay, and for this, we're going to move the vertical handle from the bottom to the middle and place it at about 110. Right? So we're going to move this up. Let's go to our curves menu. Move this up to about 110. And this is going to lighten our terrain. Alright, that looks good. Curves on, curves off. Okay. Now, we want to do a global adjustment. So again, a new adjustment layer, levels, and we're going to move the slider to the left, so it's about at 2. So back at hillshade, layer, new adjustment layer, levels. That sounds good. And we're going to move this middle one, so it's about 2. And it depends on, you know, how light you want your DEM. Maybe I'll put it about 1.85. That looks good. You can type it out in here too. And both this adjustment and this levels, what it's doing is basically just saying, you know, these pixels, they're on this gradient from 0 to 255, right? From dark to light. And we're just going to adjust those a little bit so the light pixels kind of squeeze together a little bit, or the dark pixels squeeze together a little bit here, right? And so we're emphasizing the light ones more. And that just globally allows us to adjust and lighten our terrain without, you know, doing things that don't still illustrate these shadows. So basically we want to lighten the light parts while maintaining the visual texture of these shadows. All right. So now now that we've done that, we're going to turn on the slope layer, and we're going to set the blending mode to overlay and opacity to 75. So let's turn on the slope layer here. Move that up. Trying to get this in the right spot. With the slope above the hillshade, we're going to set it to overlay. And we're going to set the opacity to 75. I believe we want this below, actually. Yeah, there we go. Let's set this one to... Nope, I had it right the first time. Sorry, sometimes getting the order of what we're doing in the correct... Yeah, that's right. Okay. So we want the hillshade on the bottom, right? We have the slope above it. The slope is just going to provide a little bit more texture, right? So we've lightened it as a whole. We're going to bring the slope in to add a little bit more of the emphasis on the terrain, right? So we've softened and lightened the hillshade. Then we add the slope layer to kind of re-emphasize some of the ridge lines and some of the pieces like around here. So it's not so muddled. It's still soft, still clean, but now it has a little bit of slope extra to it. Okay. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to turn on the forest cover. We're going to set the blending mode to multiply and set the opacity to 75. So that's our tree layer here. We'll turn this on. We're going to turn the blending mode to multiply. Oops, wrong one. Yeah, make sure you're on the right layer here. Right, I thought I was on trees now, and I just was not. So we're on trees. Set this to multiply. Right, set the opacity to 75. And there we go on that. And then the next thing we're going to do is create a new fill layer. And this is just going to be like a dark or a gray, brown brown solid color layer in order to give it a more kind of earthy texture, more earthy feel. So for this one, we're going to go to layer, new fill layer, solid color. Okay there. And then the RGB value, you can put any one you want in here. I just use kind of an earthy brown color of, I do 210, 190, 160. So 210, 190, 160. Hit OK. I'm going to put this between the trees like that. And on this one, I'm going to set this to 40, multiply opacity 40. So this should go to multiply opacity 40. Okay, just like that. Let's see what it looks like. Difference, right? Just give it a little bit more of an earthy feel. Right, not so kind of stark contrast colors. And we have some like speckles down here that we have to tend to still as well. We'll get to that in just a moment. And this is just kind of artifacts of bad data, which, you know, DEM data, especially of like rugged mountainous terrains, often have little specks like this that are super easy to fix. And so where are we at in the directions? Finally, we're going to go to our fire layer. All right, this is the data that we're emphasizing. I'll put the fire on top. We're going to go to select color range. Oops. Cancel that. Select color range. We're going to select the white. Hit OK. Hit delete. Then we're going to have our fire event on top of our newly made terrain. Hit Command D to deselect. And then we're going to go to, I believe, a hue saturation adjustment. Let me just double check. Yeah, add a hue saturation and change the saturation to 0.25 or to 25%. We'll go here, new hue saturation, change the saturation to 25. Right, and that's just going to make the fire itself more vivid. Right, if we look at kind of that difference. And then we are going to double click it. Oops, not there, not the mask. There. Cancel that. Double click the fire. This is going to bring up the effects menu, and we'll do a outer glow to it. And then I believe just set the opacity, the blending mode to color, and opacity to 85. So go to blending mode, color is way down here. And I'll set that at 85. All right, and so now we have a nice looking fire map that shows the perimeter of the fire, shows the underlying terrain, shows the land cover that is associated with that terrain, right? It shows how forested and how rugged the area is, and then allows us kind of a nice soft canvas in which to put our labels, in which to put any other sort of information that we want to express within our map. The one issue we still have to get to is down here, these little speckles. There's a number of ways to do so. And sometimes doing so, just go back to our original data here. So I'm just going to try a few things off without testing it first. See how we do. You can go to Noise, Despeckle. I can only do what we want to do. Where's my Smart Eraser at? Match Eraser. Part 4 will have to be how to deal with that. I'll have to test a few things and reimagine or rethink about what exactly I'm trying to do here before I just start hitting random buttons. So I will figure that out and post it in a video. Sometimes you encounter things you've encountered in a while, and you have to try to remember what is the best step to get rid of something silly like that. But just to review what we have, right, this is what our original hillshade looks like. We add all of our adjustments on there. What we have is a nice looking map that allows us to illustrate the fire, the terrain, and the land cover in a harmonious way. So with that, I'll go ahead and stop this video. I'll post another video about how to deal with that weird artifact down there in the bottom right corner. It might not even matter to you if you have a different geographic extent. This is just kind of an artifact. So like I was saying, I'll go ahead and stop there, and if you have any questions, please let me know. I will be available all weekend. All right, take care. Bye.